If you've ever wondered whether one decision can change the course of your entire life, the answer is yes. Mine happened on a Saturday afternoon, in a white wedding dress, standing at the end of an aisle, with nearly 200 people watching. I didn't say I do. I turned around, picked up my dress, and walked away from the man I loved. People have called me heartless, cowardly, selfish. Some even said I ruined the life of the kindest man they'd ever met. For years, I believed they were right. Until 7 years later, when fate brought us together again. Only this time, my 5-year-old daughter was fighting for her life, and the only person who could save her was the man whose heart I'd broken. If you're already judging me, I understand. I would have judged me too. But before you decide what kind of person I am, please let me tell you the whole story. My name doesn't matter. Neither does his. Some stories deserve privacy, even when they're shared. I was 26 when I got engaged. He was 29. We'd been together for 4 years. He was everything people say they want in a partner: patient, honest, reliable. He remembered anniversaries. He made coffee every morning before I woke up. He could make friends with complete strangers in grocery store lines. My parents adored him. My friends constantly asked why I hadn't married him already. Looking back, I loved him. I truly did. But love and certainty aren't always the same thing. I ignored that feeling for almost a year. Every time someone asked if I was excited about the wedding, I'd smile, say yes, then quietly wonder why my stomach felt heavy instead of happy. I blamed stress, wedding planning, money, anything except the truth. Because the truth scared me. The truth was, I couldn't picture the rest of my life. Not because of him, because of me. I didn't know who I was anymore. The week before the wedding, something happened that should have been a warning. I found my old journal from college. Inside, I'd written a list called Things I Want Before I Turn 30. Travel alone, write a novel, volunteer overseas, learn another language, open a small bookstore. There were 21 dreams on that list. I'd accomplished exactly one. I sat on the bedroom floor crying. Not because I'd failed, because I'd forgotten I ever wanted those things. Somewhere between work, bills, wedding planning, and trying to become the woman everyone expected me to be, I'd quietly abandoned the woman I wanted to become. I never told him. I should have. Instead, I kept pretending everything was fine. The wedding day arrived. Everyone said I looked beautiful. I felt numb. The music started. The doors opened. I saw him standing at the altar. He smiled. The same smile I'd loved for years. I took one step, then another. Halfway down the aisle, I couldn't breathe. It wasn't panic. It was clarity. For the first time in months, everything became painfully obvious. If I kept walking, I'd be marrying an incredible man, while lying to both of us, because he deserved someone who was completely sure, not someone hoping certainty would magically appear after the honeymoon. I stopped. Everyone looked confused. My dad whispered, "Keep walking." I couldn't. I looked directly at my fiancé. He already knew. I could see it. Sometimes the people who love you most recognize the truth before you say a word. Tears filled his eyes. I whispered, "I'm sorry." Then I walked away. The internet would have loved that moment. Thankfully, this happened before everyone carried a camera. Still, news traveled fast. Friends stopped calling. My family barely spoke to me. His family hated me. I don't blame them. I hated me too. For months, I replayed that day every night, wondering whether I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. Eventually, I left the city. I accepted a teaching position 3 states away, started over. No wedding, no fiancé, no expectations, just silence. For the first time in years, I could hear my own thoughts again. I traveled, read books, learned Spanish, volunteered at community centers, even started writing again. Life slowly became mine. 2 years later, I met someone. His name was Daniel. He wasn't anything like my ex, Messy, funny, spontaneous. He made terrible pancakes, forgot birthdays, lost his car keys almost weekly. But he made me laugh. Really laugh. Not the polite kind, the uncontrollable kind. We married quietly, just parents, close friends. No giant wedding, no pressure. 2 years later, our daughter Emma was born. She became my entire world. When Emma turned 5, everything changed again. She started bruising easily. She became tired all the time. One afternoon, she fainted at school. The diagnosis came 2 days later. A rare blood disorder, treatable, but only with a very specific donor match. Family testing began immediately. Neither Daniel nor I matched well enough. Weeks passed. Emma grew weaker. Doctors expanded the search nationally. Nothing. Every day. Hope became smaller. Then one evening, our specialist called. "I think we've found someone." I asked who. There was a pause. Then she read a name I hadn't heard in 7 years. My ex-fiancé. Apparently, years earlier, he'd joined a national bone marrow registry after his sister recovered from cancer. His genetic profile showed an unusually close compatibility with Emma. Not perfect. Remarkably close. Close enough to save her. I couldn't speak. Of all the people in the world, it was him. Walking into his hospital office felt surreal. He'd become a pediatric surgeon. He looked older, more confident. The moment he saw me, he smiled. Not bitterly, not awkwardly, just kindly. Then he asked the first question. "How's your little girl?" Not. "Why are you here?" Not. "After all these years?" Just, "How's your daughter?" That's when I cried. Really cried. For the first time since leaving him, I apologized. Again. He listened quietly. When I finished, he said something I'll never forget. "You don't owe me another apology." I stared at him. "You left because it wasn't right." He smiled. "It hurt." He laughed softly. "It nearly destroyed me." Then he looked through the hospital window. But marrying someone who wasn't sure would have hurt even more. I asked why he'd agreed so quickly to donate. His answer broke me. "Because she's a little girl who needs help." He shrugged. "And because loving someone doesn't stop just because life goes a different direction." The transplant happened 3 weeks later. It worked. Emma slowly recovered. Month by month, she became herself again, running, laughing, drawing terrible pictures of unicorns. Every birthday since, she sends him a handmade card. She calls him Mommy's hero. He always says the real hero is modern medicine, but we'll always know better. A few months after Emma recovered, we met for coffee. No romance, no unfinished love story. Just two people finally able to speak honestly. He admitted something surprising. He'd met someone too, a wonderful woman. They'd recently gotten engaged. I felt genuinely happy for him, because for the first time, neither of us wondered what might have been. Sometimes, the right ending isn't finding your way back to each other. Sometimes, it's finally understanding why you couldn't stay. People often ask whether I regret leaving him. The answer is complicated. I regret hurting him. I regret not being brave enough to tell him the truth sooner. I regret letting fear carry us all the way to the altar. But I don't regret leaving, because staying would have been a greater betrayal. Not just to him, to myself. Real love isn't saying yes because everyone expects you to. Real love is respecting someone enough not to build a lifetime on uncertainty. Ironically, the man I almost married became one of the greatest blessings my family ever received. Not because we ended up together, because he reminded me what genuine love actually looks like. It isn't possession. It isn't resentment. It isn't keeping score. Sometimes, love is simply choosing kindness after someone breaks your heart. And if there's one lesson this story taught me, it's this. The people meant to shape your life won't always stay in it forever. Some are there to become your future. Others are there to teach you who you're supposed to become. Both kinds of love are real, and sometimes, the bravest, "I love you," you'll ever say, is walking away before it's too late.